I never imagined that the end of my marriage would smell like fresh paper and cheap coffee. The conference room was quiet, sterile, the kind of silence that didn't belong to two people who had once shared a life. Across the table, Emma sat with her lawyer, a neat stack of divorce papers between us. Her hair was tied up in that same bun she used to wear when she cooked Sunday breakfast. Funny how even the smallest things can twist your chest when you know it's the last time you'll see them. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Mr. Carter, if you're ready, you can sign on the final page." I picked up the pen. My hand didn't shake, though I expected it to. We'd been separated for 7 months, long enough for anger to cool into something heavier. Resignation. Emma didn't look at me, not once. She just watched the pen like it was a ticking bomb. Before the ink touched the paper, I told myself this was peace. Not defeat, not regret, just peace. A quiet ending. That's what I thought I wanted. Then fate decided to lean in. Her lawyer stepped out to make a call, and mine followed. I was still flipping through the pages when I heard her voice. Low, sharp, almost trembling. "He actually thinks I'll come back once it's done," she whispered. God, he's so predictable. Poor, sweet Daniel, always begging to fix what's already dead. The pen froze in my hand. My chest tightened as her words echoed off the walls. For a moment, I thought I misheard her. Maybe my mind was looking for pain like it always did. But then she laughed. A small, cruel sound that stripped away every illusion I tried to protect. It wasn't the first time Emma had cut me open with words. The first few years of our marriage, she had a way of making me feel seen, admired even. But somewhere along the line, the light in her eyes turned into something else. Pity, contempt, the kind of gaze that makes a man shrink in his own home. I used to tell myself it was the stress, the bills, the long hours at the firm, that once we had stability again, she'd look at me like she used to. But now, sitting there with divorce papers between us, I realized the truth. She didn't just fall out of love with me. She outgrew the version of me she could control. I placed the pen down quietly and leaned back. My heartbeat slowed, and everything around me seemed distant. Her phone buzzed, and I watched her face light up for the first time that morning. She smiled, a real one, the kind I hadn't seen in years. "Yeah," she whispered into the phone. "It's almost done tonight." "Sure." She didn't notice me looking. She didn't even care. And just like that, the sadness that had been sitting in my chest for months burned away, replaced by something sharper. Not rage. Clarity. The kind that comes too late, but hits like a storm. When the lawyers returned, I stood up. "I'll have my attorney review it again," I said calmly. Emma frowned. "Daniel, what are you doing? We agreed." "I know what we agreed," I interrupted, "but I just realized something." She crossed her arms, impatient. "What?" "That I've spent too long apologizing for things I didn't break." Her expression faltered for the first time. Maybe she didn't expect me to stand tall anymore. Maybe she thought she'd already drained me dry. I left the pen on the table and walked out of that room. The hallway air felt colder, fresher, almost cleansing. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like a man being abandoned. I felt like one who had finally woken up. Outside, the city moved as if nothing had changed. But everything had, and I knew this wasn't the end of the story, just the moment I stopped being the quiet one in it. That night, I sat in my car outside the apartment that used to be ours. The lights on the second floor were on, the same warm glow I'd once found comforting. Now it felt like a reminder of everything that slipped away. I didn't plan on coming here. I told myself I just needed closure. One last look before I signed my name on a future without her. But deep down, I knew curiosity had its claws in me. When you love someone long enough, you start hearing their lies before they speak them. And Emma's whisper in that conference room hadn't just hurt. It had woken me up. I saw a shadow across the living room window. Not hers, a man's. He moved like he belonged there. And that's when everything clicked. The late nights, the girls' trips, the sudden coldness that made no sense. For months, I blamed myself for the silence between us. I tried harder, did more, even when she met my efforts with indifference. I thought I wasn't enough. But standing there in the dark, I realized I'd been competing with someone who never played fair. I didn't knock. I didn't confront. I just turned the key that was still on my ring, the last remnant of a man who hadn't learned to let go. The door opened with a sound that seemed to slice through the soft music playing inside. Emma appeared in the hallway, barefoot, wrapped in a robe I'd bought her 2 Christmases ago. For a moment, she froze, her face pale, eyes wide. "Daniel, what the hell? Forgot something?" I said quietly, stepping inside. My self-respect. Behind her, a tall man stepped out from the kitchen, confusion written across his face. He looked younger, the kind of man still figuring out how to stand in his own shoes. Emma moved quickly, as if blocking me from seeing him could undo what I already knew. "You can't just barge in here," she hissed. "Don't worry," I said, glancing around. "I won't be long." I walked to the shelf by the hallway, the one where we used to keep our photos. There was a new frame there now. Her and him, a beach I'd never been to. I took it, turned it over, and placed it face down on the table. She exhaled sharply. "You're unbelievable." "No," I said, meeting her eyes. "Just finally awake." The man hesitated, then grabbed his jacket and left without a word. The door clicked behind him, and suddenly the apartment was silent again, except for the shallow rhythm of her breathing. Emma looked smaller than I remembered. "What do you want from me, Daniel? You think this changes anything?" I shook my head. "No, it just explains everything." For a moment, neither of us spoke. No yelling, no dramatic ending, just 2 people standing in the ruins of something that used to mean everything. Finally, I said, "Tomorrow I'll sign the papers, but not because I'm giving up, because I'm done holding on to someone who left a long time ago." Her eyes glistened, but she looked away. Maybe it was guilt, maybe pride. I didn't need to know anymore. I left without slamming the door. The night air hit me like a wave, crisp and clean. Every breath felt new. Driving home, I rolled down the window and let the city lights blur into streaks of gold. Somewhere between the traffic and the hum of the tires, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I was grateful for the truth, for the closure, for the freedom I didn't know I'd been missing. The next morning, I went back to the lawyer's office. The papers were still there, waiting. I signed my name slowly, each stroke feeling lighter than the last. Before I handed the pen back, I whispered to myself, "You don't lose when you walk away from someone who stops seeing your worth. You win when you finally see it yourself." For the first time in years, I walked out, not as someone's husband, not as someone's mistake, but as myself again.